Twitter's new CEO, Elon Musk, begun releasing information about how the New York Post story on the Hunter Biden laptop was suppressed. Musk says it was censored at the top. Polls suggest that the election would have turned out differently if the people had known that the Hunter Biden laptop was indeed real. For more on this, let's bring in 1945.com correspondent, UK counter-extremism researcher, and author of the book Monsters of Their Own Making, Jack Buckby. Hey, Jack, great to see you, my friend. You know, I know you're used to the British system, but many of these concepts of freedom, liberty, prosperity, they're shared by Western civilization, Western countries. Isn't it a good idea for strong, consequential, and transparent penalties for those in the government who steal our most basic and guaranteed rights?
Absolutely, I think that's important. But what Elon Musk has done here by releasing these Twitter files, which, by the way, has had virtually zero coverage in the mainstream press and definitely zero in the UK, he's exposed something quite phenomenal, but it's something that we already knew existed. And if I may offer a pessimistic view of what just happened here, I don't think much will change in the short to medium term, because the media will return to its usual tactic of either ignoring the problem, or they'll just carry on saying, you know, that there are baseless claims of election interference or baseless claims of censorship on social media. The simple fact is evidence doesn't matter.
Well, that's true. It's true. If the biased press, if we don't report it, it doesn't really exist. The only problem is, as the Hunter Biden laptop story illustrates, that the press is full of a bunch of liars and individuals who can't be trusted. Jack, you know, Apple and Google, they've had a stranglehold on the app market and the app stores. There was a reported dust-up between Apple and Musk that appears to be resolved at this point. Bigger question in my mind is Apple helping China suppress protesters over there who are yearning to breathe free? Isn't it insane for Western companies to do business with anti-freedom regimes?
Absolutely. That's certainly one reason not to want to do business with Apple. But the simple truth is that Apple and Google control the mobile operating system industry entirely. It's been moving in that way over the last 10, 15 years. And Twitter now faces a real threat. Now, Apple says that the problem is resolved, but we'll see. Twitter can be destroyed overnight if Apple and Google decide to remove the app from the App Store, because a huge majority of people access these things via apps. Now, one thing that I think is important to recognize is that BlackBerry, Microsoft, and even Amazon have all failed at creating their own phones in the same way that Musk said that he might do if Apple removes the app from its App Store. And the reason why is because Apple and Google control the app market. No new phone can ever compete with Apple or Google unless it has access to apps, and it will never have access to apps unless developers have access to an ecosystem with enough users. So it's become a self-fulfilling prophecy. What we have here is that Apple and Google can control what the vast majority of people can see and do on their phones, and there's nothing that can be done about it. And a solution I propose, which is put forward by BlackBerry in 2015, is App Neutrality. It's an idea whereby apps are available from different app stores on one device like Apple, but also Apple should be required to put its app marketplace on alternative mobile ecosystems. And that way we can ensure that there's real competition and Apple and Google cannot control our lives.
See, and that's exactly what your solution is a brilliant one, but that's what Apple and Google are trying to stop. They're trying to exert control by denying competition, which is, of course, anti-American. Jack, what was your take, just 30,000 feet up, from Musk's release of these files over the weekend? What's the long-term impact, do you think, as Americans are going, oh my goodness, they're starting to realize, oh my goodness, we had government actors colluding with these big tech companies to take away our most fundamental, basic American rights?
I mean, again, it really depends on what the media does with this and whether people really understand what dynamic is going on here, the amount of power that Apple and Google have. How people respond, I don't know. But what I would suggest is that people get behind the Open App Markets Act, which is legislation put forward by, I believe, Marsha Blackburn and Amy Klobuchar. And the legislation doesn't go as far as I've just suggested, that would require Apple to put its App Store on alternative mobile ecosystems, but it would require Apple to open up to alternative mobile app stores that would effectively divert this problem of them deleting Twitter. It's a start. What I would say is I'm quite concerned now that with what has happened with Elon Musk, whether Democrats who put forward this legislation, the Open App Markets Act, whether they'll pull that support. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. What a concept, having American companies actually compete for business rather than just having it handed to them. Jack Buckby, always appreciate the time, my friend. We'll talk again soon. Coming up, Reverend Raphael